He was holding them. Okay, let me go over this. There are 4 different types of questions here. And the reason I want to go over them is I want you to know if you're prepared for this on the test so that we could brainstorm together. Again, some of you may need to go back and look over things. Again, when you do this that day of, you will only write 2 short answers. There is 4 different ones, but you only have to do 2 little package of them. So let me explain them and we'll go over them. So on this part, read the question carefully. Write your response in the section 1, part 2 of the short answers. You're going to get a box, basically. It's a page on the AP exam. You have to write within that box.
So like
if you,
the EOC
yeah, on the EOC essays, if you write outside the box, they still grade it. I grade on the AP one for US. I'm thinking this year I may grade World. I don't know. I've gotten invited to both. I have to decide. If you write outside the box, you don't see those words. They scan directly the box. So if you write outside the box and you go a whole essay around like this, I don't get to read it. So make sure you write within the box. So that's why I'm suggesting. It has to be complete sentences. It cannot be an outline or bulleted points. We automatically give no credit to that. Okay? We see you may plan your answers. This is just the directions from AP. I'm not going to read that because I know you know how to read. What I want us to look at is question 1 because we're going to brainstorm. This is a short question. You will have to label A, B, C, okay? Because if you don't label them, they just said not labeled and it gets shuffled, okay? So let's look at the first one. Briefly explain one way in which the Second World War transformed relationships of the United States with the rest of the world. Is there anything that happened in World War I that is going to transform the United States in this time period? Do we get anything that's powerful that goes boom? We get a bomb. What kind of bomb? Does that transform our relationships with the rest of the world?
Yes.
Why? What, it increased, okay, can I put that? We get an atomic bomb, it increases tensions, period.
No.
Because what do you need to do? Briefly explain how this is going to transform. Does this cause the U.S. to become one of the dominant powers?
Yes.
Okay, do y'all have a thing called burdens of power?
Yes.
That kind of goes through that transformation? That's why it's still in your binder. Also, you picked up another thing called varying viewpoints. It has historian A and historian B that goes over the atomic bomb. I don't have time to read that with you, and I know you could read, so make sure if you're going to want to do this question, you read through that, and you're going to be able to explain the transformation. If you just say that we become a dominant world power, have you explained? No. That is your homework to go in. Let's look at the next one. Briefly explain one important way in which the Second World War transformed the United States society. So how is our society transformed? Can I say women in the workforce, period?
No.
Okay, I promise you, when I'm grading these with my daughter's like there in the summer when I'm grading them, and she's like, Mom, Mom, Mom. And so I make her sit down with me, and I say, you grade with me as I grade. Anytime that it's one sentence, you give it a 0. Anytime that it's 2 really long sentences, you give it a 1, because it gets 1 point. Guess what? She's sitting looking for the period. She's like, okay, it was 1 sentence. Do you think they got the point? I read it, it's 1 sentence. Do you think it had enough history to get the point? No. I also taught her what commas were. And so she was reading it and she realized there's a comma and then they go on. And she's like, wow, like that's a really long sentence. I was like, no, that's actually like them having a thought and them continuing the thought. Okay? Do you think they did a little bit better than the 1 sentence?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What happens, and I know I'm not saying that sentences, but for her it kept her quiet so I could read. And then she realizes people who had 2s and 3s predictably are going to get the point. 2 to 3 sentences. Because do you think they're explaining it now?
Yes.
Right, so just in your mind, just know we're going to 3 to 4 sentences. Yes?
Can you, like, in the first sentence, like, answer it and then explain in the second sentence?
Yes, that's what most people do. They answer it and then they explain, and sometimes the explanation, comma, period, extra sentence, extra sentence. But do you see how this cannot just be 1 sentence?
Yes.
And at least kept her entertained because she could predict. right? And I just thought it was funny, like, oh my gosh, like she was able to predict alongside with me. Not that I'm gonna make her grade it and stuff like that, because that's what they pay me for. Okay, but so is it only women? Because look at this next one. What we have to explain? We can't just put women, period, Rosie the Riveter, period. Can we do that?
No.
No. What do I have to explain?
How?
Why? Where were women before?
In the house.
In the house.
In the house. And we were in the Depression. Do you think those jobs during the New Deal were geared towards women?
No.
No, but then all of a sudden, what happened to transform women into the workforce? Men went where?
War.
War because of what act? Selective Service Act. So we need to encourage women to come into the workforce to take up those jobs. Have I done a little bit more of an explanation?
Yes.
Okay. Again, I'm not going to do every single little thing and tell you all the answers. That's something you're going to have to do. Explain another important way in which the Second World War transformed United States society. African Americans, I could refer to Executive Order 8802. Is there another transformation in society? Japanese, I could refer to them. Could I even refer to the Bracero program? That we're allowing immigrants in, because prior to this time period, did we allow immigrants in? Okay, did I
refer to the German internment?
Yes, there was one outside of McKinney, Texas, where I used to live. That's in German internment camp. You can refer to that. I know there was some stuff in our readings about that. Okay, do y'all get this question? Some of you may like this, but I have 3 others that we want to look at. This picture, the first thing on it, it says, please describe the political cartoon. What is the bear? Okay, because it has the sickle and the hammer, the bear. Okay. What is the eagle?
America.
Okay, so if you were to say the bear represents the Soviet Union, the eagle represents the United States, are they lovingly looking at each other?
No.
Okay.
They're about to fight.
They're about to fight, okay? And then could I say that they're not looking at each other very nicely, and there is irresponsible sentiments and deepening suspicions?
Yes.
No.
No.
Because I'm doing what? I'm quoting the document. So can I say that there's tensions arising between the two because of things that were done during the war, maybe some comments made, and some suspicions that arose between them? Have I put it in my own words?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I've done the first part. The next part says, what military event during World War II could depict the problem that arose in the political cartoon?
Casablanca?
Is that military or is that
No.
diplomatic?
That's diplomatic.
Militarily.
The dropping the bomb? Oh.
Going
The
to
wrong.
Stalingrad, I could focus on that they didn't do the second front to deter the Germans, right?
Going to Sicily to.
Going North Africa, the Sicily, the Italian campaign. Or could I even refer to delaying the D-Day invasion? Oh, wait, is that militarily? I'm using soldiers, troops.
yes.
Okay, the next one says, now we could go to yours. What diplomatic event during World War II could depict the problem? She says Casablanca, because at Casablanca they decided to do what? Second front of North Africa through Italy, which didn't deter. It kind of goes back to this one, but I'm referring to an event. Is there anything else diplomatically I could refer to? Yalta, those tensions at Yalta, right? Do y'all have a lot of notes on Yalta that you could talk about?
Yes.
Could I even refer to the Manhattan Project and them being frozen out of it? But can I just say Manhattan Project, period, being frozen out of it? Do you need to go back and explain? How do y'all feel about this question?
Good.
All right, but again, there's 2 more on the backside. Okay, you only have to do 2 of the 4. This one here, it says, briefly explain one reason why the United States dropped the atomic bomb as a diplomatic measure to intimidate the Soviet Union.
They wanted the Soviet Union to know that, like, we had the atomic bomb.
We had the atomic bomb, but is that enough?
No.
We had the atomic bomb and we could possibly use it against them because what weren't they following? What agreements? The Yalta agreements, such as free elections in Eastern Europe and the divisions of Germany. Okay, I can refer to that. Some of you like, oh, you don't like this question. Briefly explain one reason why the United States dropped the atomic bomb as a military measure designed to force Japan's unconditional surrender. stop the casualties because of what event? To Iwo Jima and Okinawa, those military campaigns brought to the realization that we're going to have a high death toll, right? Okay, but do we still need to explain more?
Yes.
Explain another reason why the United States dropped the atomic bomb.
Intimidate the Soviet Union.
Huh? Oh, well, we dropped, what happened at Korakua? Save soldiers, right? How long has this war been? 40 years. Okay, you also have this other 6 years for those in Europe who've been participating early. You also have the viewpoints of the atomic bomb. You can go back through it because the first viewpoint says why we dropped it for Japan. The backside says why we dropped it for the Soviet Union. If you wanted to do that question, again, are you going to have to do a little bit of digging around,
Yes.
going back, okay? You don't have to do all of them. Again, you only write 2 of the short answers, but you have to do A, B, and C within the pack. But you could decide that, oh, I want to do question series 3. And then you choose another question series.
Can we do more than 2?
Your own, if, just to make sure that you're getting all your points, yes. Because it may be that you got this one right and then you don't get that one right. If you have enough time, yes. Again, it's a time thing. On the AP exam, you're given 40 minutes for each, 10 minutes per each set. There are 4 sets, you get 40 minutes to write. All right, let's look at this last set. Briefly explain one specific minority group's contributions to the war effort and their impact. The Navajo Code Talkers. Can I say Navajo Code Talkers, period, code, period?
No.
No. Okay, y'all are getting it now. Okay, what other group?
African American.
African Americans. Huh?
Moving the bodies and cooking.
Oh, in the war effort and then desegregation of the war industries being a part of that. Okay. Women, I could also talk because women are a minority group. Okay. Can I talk about Mexican Americans in the Bracero program?
Yes.
Okay. Briefly explain a government policy that was created to deal with a specific minority group during the war.
Executive Order 8802.
8802, which, can I just say Executive Order 8802, period.
No.
I have to explain it and why it dealt with that group. What's the other one? 9066, and it dealt with what group? But I have to explain the policy, right? And then the next part, it goes back to this. It says, briefly explain the policy addressed in Part B and was created. Why was it created? 9066, what do we fear? Sabotage, okay, there was a high population, huh? Okay, and then, do y'all get this?
Yeah.
How does this writing style seem?
Easy.
Okay, this is, in most of your history classes in college, you will write essays and have short answers like this that you will do. That multiple choice will end once you get out of high school. I'm sorry, the multiple guess life. Okay.